Hi everyone, this is Rick from Lake Conroe Living. I wanted to share with you a 30-day plan that Janet and I have to travel from the Houston area up to the state of Pennsylvania and back, and I've done that using the Rand McNally Trip Maker. And I kind of just wanted to do this just because as you see additional posts in the upcoming months, you'll have an understand. This is like the introductory video, if you will, to that entire trip. So I just wanted to do a brief review of how I went about this for those that might be interested. I probably over planned. I'm a project manager by trade, and so I'm definitely anal. I know a lot of people travel and they don't make any plan whatsoever. They just drive with their RV, travel trailer, what have you, and they get to close to where they want to go. They look for a spot to stop, and that's how they do the whole thing. I'm not like that. I need to plan everything out in the details, just to feel more comfortable, because that's just me. So here we live north of Houston on Lake Conroe. And so the first leg of this trip is we'll be camping at in Texas, about 4 hours away. Then we'll be moving up into Arkansas, and then from there, and I've broken this all up into different segments. That way I can download them into the Rand McNally RV GPS that we have. And so then we move on through the Tennessee, through Arkansas. We'll be staying outside of Memphis, and then all the way through the state of Tennessee. And then we get from Tennessee, we start getting up into Virginia, and from Virginia, this is all the way up through the mountains, if you will, the Appalachian Mountains, and we stay at a couple different parks there, and we're staying all at state parks. That was just our choice. We like state parks, and so we feel comfortable doing that. Also in this trip, you'll notice that there's a lot of stops. Well, all of these represent either the state parks or they represent fuel stops, and I'll get into a little bit more of that a little bit later. And then finally we make it to our final destination, which is at Hickory Run State Park in Pennsylvania, where we'll be staying about a week. And then because there's only so many ways to go, you'll see it here. Then on the way down, we start at Hickory Run, we make our way back down through Virginia, but then we head south into South Carolina. We'll skirt through North Carolina into South Carolina. We'll be staying there for a couple days, and then we start the process of going back home. Really, well, we've already started, but it's a little bit more detail. So now from South Carolina, we'll make our way around Atlanta. I've taken some plans to try to avoid the worst traffic around Atlanta. I've heard it's pretty notorious. And so we'll stay here in Georgia as well. We'll be staying in Alabama. We won't be staying in Mississippi. I couldn't really find a place to stay in Mississippi where it made sense. A lot of the state parks were really off of the interstate quite a bit, and I didn't really want to go there. And then we will be staying in Louisiana at this state park, Poverty Point. And then finally, the last leg of the trip, we start here in Louisiana. We make our way around Shreveport, and we're going to be staying again at the state park we started with, which is McCormick's, what is it? I forget the name. But we'll be staying there and then finally making our way home. And so what I wanted to do also real briefly is show a spreadsheet I created. Oh, Martin Creek State Park, that's where it is. So we start in Martin Creek State Park and we end in Martin Creek State Park before we get home. And so I've listed here, this is information that I plan to print out, and keeping this in the cab of the truck will allow us to see our reservation numbers. It'll allow us to see the check-in times, check-out times, and you'll notice over here I've kind of given some estimates, number of miles between stops, and you'll see that for the most part, you'll see here from Martin Creek to DeGray is around 186 miles. From DeGray to T.O. Fuller is 213, and you know, for seasoned travelers in travel trailers, probably this is very small numbers of miles, but for us this is our first big excursion, if you will. I've made this trip 25 plus years in a car every single year to visit family, but never did it in a travel trailer. So this is going to be interesting, to say the least. So in most cases, these are estimate hours that are very, they're padded out. Hopefully it'll be stress-free. That's the whole point of this, and all the planning is to keep it stress-free. So there are many overnights. There are some 2 days scattered in within all of this, and you'll see that as I go through all of this, most of the travel days are pretty light. There's a few here that are, here's one, 323. This is the longest one. From Georgia to Oak Mountain in Alabama. But for the most part, it's pretty stress-free, we think, at least I'm hoping. And so this spreadsheet will help us to just kind of keep track of things. The other thing I did was I created a Word document which included a picture of the road, basically the road plan. And then within each one of those, I put all the filling stops as well. And you'll notice that some of them, if I go up to this one in particular, if it was, we plan on staying at Flying J stopping at Flying J and Pilot. And if it's a Flying J or Pilot that has an RV lane for filling, we use gas, not diesel, then I put an asterisk here. If it was a Pilot, in some cases they're a little tight, and I use Google Maps to view those, each and every one of those. And I put a comment here if it made sense to maybe stop, maybe go down the street. And so here, for example, I thought that this particular Pilot was a little tight, and so an alternate will be the Valero down the highway, or possibly near the Walmart Supercenter. Or near the Walmart Supercenter. So this is the plan. You'll see videos coming up afterwards. We'll have no bandwidth while we're traveling to upload videos. We'll be taking videos along the way and for each state park, and some of the things we got planned. Of course, we're going to be doing some biking and some hiking. Charlie will be coming with us, so that'll be exciting for Charlie, and we're looking forward to it, and I hope you will follow us along, and we're hoping for a great trip. Thank you.